I had no idea what to expect walking into this movie, and honestly, that might be the best way to see any movie. Hi, I'm Adam Caesar. I write books and I talk about movies on the internet. Follow me if you want to see more reviews like this. Last night I saw Love Lies Bleeding. This is the new A24 movie starring Kristen Stewart and Katy O'Brian. It was directed by Rose Glass. The plot concerns a young woman traversing her way across the U.S., ending up in New Mexico on her way to a bodybuilding competition in Las Vegas, where she meets Kristen Stewart's character, and the two of them fall in love, only to have that love challenged and maybe even thwarted by Kristen Stewart's character's dad, a businessman slash gun runner slash murderer, played by Ed Harris. What I mean when I say I had no idea what to expect in this movie is it's very, very different from Rose Glass's first feature. Her first feature, Saint Maud, was a very British, very short, very singular and claustrophobic and lonely character study horror movie about a woman who may or may not have mental illness and believes she is a biblical saint and is kind of basically pushing herself to the limit and torturing herself in this kind of martyrdom that she has devised for herself. I really liked Saint Maud. It's very creepy. It has very evocative images. It has a lot of like really queasy violence and sexuality in it. But it's a horror movie, and Love Lies Bleeding has a lot of violence in it, but it is nowhere near being a horror movie. If anything, it is a romance. It is a crime movie. It is kind of an art house action movie. There's not a ton of action in it, but when it does hit, it hits really well. The thing that surprised me so much about this is the tagline is "Revenge gets pumped." So it was kind of, you hear revenge, and the revenge movie has a very codified, very particular structure to it that these movies usually follow, but it's not really a revenge movie. It's kind of a misrepresentation of the movie by marketing in kind of a good way, because what it ends up being is very surprising and satisfying. And the closest thing that I could equate it to, or the thing that I can compare it to as far as other movies go, is something like True Romance or something like Wild at Heart. It is a crime movie with kind of larger-than-life characters, and as the movie goes on, very exaggerated situations and character quirks that you don't really get from looking at the marketing to this movie. You get down and gritty and sweaty and downbeat crime thriller when you look at the trailer, when you look at how people even are generally talking about this movie, but I don't think the movie is that at all. And I think it's really because of that central romance element and how it is presented, which really, really works. You really worry for these two characters, not only that they themselves will survive the story, but if their like love and their relationship will survive the story, which is a very different way for how a lot of crime movies work. Saint Maud's like barely 80 minutes. It's just this quick, very zoomed in view of this one character's life, and as a first feature, you're like, well, I wonder what else this director can do. And it's very clear that Rose Glass wanted to subvert and challenge those expectations of what you think a Rose Glass movie is. She really expands it with her second feature, and it's great. I'm sure a lot of people, the big draw will be the fact that Kristen Stewart's in this. She did like she's doing like a real marketing publicity blitz for this movie, and she's really good in it. She's really great. Clearly, she has established herself, much like Robert Pattinson, as an actor that started in like very popcorny things and is moving towards a much more serious take on her craft. She's great. She's wonderful. But the real star of this movie is Katy O'Brian. Not only is she this kind of secondary protagonist, alternating protagonist for the film, but her performance, I just wasn't aware of her. I know she has like a lot of TV credits and stuff like that. I haven't seen those shows, but I have to imagine that this is quite a departure from that, just not only in size of her role, but like what she's asked to do and allowed to do. She's amazing. I never ever look up actors like biographies or credits. Not that I don't care, just that it kind of colors the way you see them and see their performances. But I looked up her Wikipedia, I couldn't help it, and see that she's a trained martial artist and stuff like that. And you see this movie, and like I said, there's kind of art house action in it. There's moments of like intense violence that like are really cool and really great, but it's not like an action movie. This isn't Die Hard. This isn't like one of the Rambo sequels. But you look at Katy O'Brian, and then you realize that she's a trained martial artist, and you're like, oh, okay, we're gonna get a lot of cool Katy O'Brian movies after you watch this picture, and you're like, oh, she's like a star. She's gonna like be an action star maybe, or just like a serious actor. It's hard to tell what trajectory her career is gonna take after this, but you kind of know That she's going to be in a bunch more movies because she's really, really good in this. Yeah, it is a bodybuilding action crime thriller romance, and even telling you that much doesn't really spoil where the movie goes and the odd directions that it takes. But what will spoil it is the fact that this is like an A24 movie, and there's kind of that film Twitter, film TikTok, film YouTube community that is so quick to kind of snark on stuff and like leave one line letterbox reviews and stuff like that. So know that if you kind of don't go and see this movie this weekend, you're probably gonna hear about the biggest gags and the biggest plot twists and the biggest surprises in this movie, just because people in the film community can't help themselves and want to turn everything into a joke. So if you're at all interested in this movie, I very, very, very much encourage you to go see it and don't read any more about it. Just go enjoy it because it's really worth your time.